Welcome, I'm Streaky, this is Metropolis Mastering. Today I'm going to discuss the mastering and mixing mindset. So the mindset that you need when you're mastering, I think, is totally different to when you're mixing. However, it would be lovely, and kind of stem mastering is a halfway house, so it would be lovely if you could actually sometimes get into the head of the mix engineer. I have to usually go back and explain what I'm hearing to how I think something should sound different in a mix so that I can then get the master sounding better. Because when you're mastering, you're not listening in the same way as when you're mixing. You're listening to the whole veneer of a track. You're listening to the in basic terms, the treble and the bass. So you're listening, and then you're doing a lot of detail around that, and the dynamics of the track. You're listening to how it performs as the whole picture, not just as in the individual tracks. So when you're mixing, you've got control over the individual tracks and control over the dynamic of those individual tracks, and it's more about that, and it's more about the balance, I think, and about, most importantly, the space between the instruments and the space that you leave. When you're mixing, I think that you've got to consider the space as being as important, if not more important, than the actual sounds themselves, because the sounds need space to be able to develop. When you master them, and when you actually push it together and you crush it, if there's space there, the sounds can come out and can come alive a lot more, like flavours in food when you're cooking. Obviously, the more flavours you throw in, the worse it's going to. There's too many flavours, so it's better to just get really nice ones and make sure you've got space around them so that you can hear them when they're pushed and they're cleaned up and sounding nice. Good example is a lot of hip hop stuff. If you listen to Pharrell Williams stuff, it's very, four things going on. So that's kind of the sort of sound that I'm listening to. So if it's a nice mix and it's got loads of space, then I'm listening to the whole sound, and then I'm either turning up the top or the bottom, then tightening certain areas, cutting into those areas. You're kind of working it out as it's a line, and it's all different frequencies, and it's how those frequencies come together to make the whole picture. Now, with the mix mindset, you are listening to the individual tracks, so you're kind of listening to the whole picture is much trickier, especially to the finished thing. A lot of mix engineers will say, well, it's finished and it sounds like it doesn't need mastering, and then when they come and they master it, they're like, I don't know, they think it's a mystery that I can then take it to another level to what they were at. But that's just because I'm listening in a different way, in the same way as if you make a table. It's analogy central today. The way that if you make a table and you've built it and you've made it out of all the nice stuff, and then you put a nice coat of lacquer on it and hopefully just nice sand, rather than just painting it with a load of stuff because the actual wood's crap and it's not built very well. So that's kind of my mindset when I'm going into something. I'm listening to it as the outside. I'll then get back to people and explain to them if they've mixed it, or if the mix engineer's done it, what I think they could change to the balance for me to be able to get it to a better place. On the mindset thing, when you're first listening, you can then tell straight away, okay, so all I've got in my head is the finished product. I've got a sound in my head where I know, okay, they're going for that. That's the sound that they're looking for, because I've listened to so many finished tracks. So I know, okay, because I'm not interested in the process before mastering. I'm not involved in that. I'm only concerned with mastering. So I'm only listening to finished products. So it's, how do I take something from there and make it into a finished product? That's the mastering stage for me, and that's all I'm interested in. So I hear it, okay, I can hear what they're after. Am I going to be able to get it to that point? So what I'm trying to do is go, okay, I'm going to have to do this, that, and the other. I've explained in many other videos. And then if I can only get it to this point, then I'll go back and say, if you did this and that, I think we could get it to exactly what you're thinking, or maybe better, or that kind of sound. So it's kind of a work in progress, but you know, you kind of, a lot of the times you can get it near enough to that point, but, and it's that kind of overall sound that people are after. And so that's all I'm thinking. As I'm going into it, I'm thinking, that's the sound I'm looking for. How close can I get? How close can I get? And it's how long that process takes for me to master. Hopefully, the best masters would be, it's come from the mix engineer. I can just turn it up with some limiting and it sounds great already. That's the perfect scenario for me as a mastering engineer. But, you know, how often does that happen? So I hope that's helped you in some way. I hope you can pick some pieces out of that, and it will help you sort of get into the mindset of doing something. If you're mixing and then you're mastering, I would suggest mix it, leave it for a few weeks, and then come to master it, because it's very hard to, you know, then you're taking more of an outside approach. Right, I better get the phone. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Until next time. Cheers. Bye.